The day a woman was attacked by a massive snake, but her dog saved her and left everyone in tears. Yeah, that day, that woman was me. And I swear to you, nothing in this world could have prepared me for what I went through. One second, I was just out in my backyard doing what I always do, thinking it was just another quiet afternoon in my peaceful little town. And the next, I was flat on the ground, gasping for air, staring death right in the eyes, and that death came slithering out of the tall grass with a hunger I could feel before I even saw it. It didn't hiss, it didn't rattle, it just moved, fast, heavy, and with this dead silence that made the whole world freeze. I didn't even have time to scream properly. My legs useless, my hands shaking like crazy, my mind blank. And all I could think was, this is it. The crazy part, I almost didn't have that dog with me that day. I'd been thinking for weeks about giving him up. Not because I didn't love him, hell no. But I was getting older, tired, money was tight, and he's a strong one. A handful. So I'd made peace with the idea of letting him go. I even talked to a neighbor who said she might take him in. That same morning, I looked at him and thought, maybe today's the day. But something held me back. Call it instinct, call it love, I don't know, I just couldn't do it. That decision, that one moment of hesitation, it ended up saving my life. Now imagine this, you're trapped, pinned down by something you can't. Push off can't outrun, and you know your body ain't strong enough to fight it. You smell the earth, the sweat, the fear, your heart pounding like it's gonna blow. Your chest wide open, and there's this moment where your brain accepts that it's over. But then out of nowhere you hear it, this deep, raw, desperate bark. And then chaos, growling, snapping, the thud of bodies hitting the ground, the sound of your dog fighting like his life depends on it, because it does. And yours does too. I'll never forget the way it all unfolded. The noises, the weight of that thing crushing me, the way my dog threw himself between me and what should have been the end. People always say dogs are loyal, but you have no idea what loyalty looks like until you see it take a bite for you, bleed for you, refuse to back down when everything says it should run. And you know what's even crazier? That snake? It didn't come out of nowhere. Turns out there was a reason behind it all, a reason that still makes my stomach turn. And once I found out why it was even there in the first place, well, let's just say this story ain't only about survival. It's about timing, about choices, about listening to that little voice in your gut that tells you don't do it today. But the real question is, what if I had given him away that morning? Would I still be here to tell this story? Hey, ... Before I dive into what happened that day, let me just say, thanks. Seriously, thanks for being here and taking a moment to listen to my story. It means a lot. And if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, Victims of Nature. Trust me, you're gonna want to know how all this went down. This ain't just another story. This is something that changed me forever. So now, let me tell you how that unforgettable moment really happened. Name's Maggie. Margaret Turner, actually, but no one calls me that unless I'm in trouble or dealing with paperwork. I'm 68, been living in the same small town in Georgia for most of my life. A quiet little place called Pine Hollow, not too far from Macon. It's the kind of town where the corner diner knows your coffee order by heart and everybody still waves when they pass you on the road. Some folks might call it boring, but to me, it's home. Always has been. I raised my kids here, buried my husband here, and figured I'd live out the rest of my days tending to my garden, baking for the church fundraisers, and taking slow walks in the evening with my old dog. Nothing fancy, just peace. That kind of peace, where you can hear your own breath, now. Let me tell you something about this dog. Not just a dog, my dog. He's a big OL mix of Wannashot, probably got some Shepherd in him, maybe a little Rottweiler, and definitely a whole lot of attitude. Found him on the side of the highway about 6 years ago. Scrawny, beat up, looked like he hadn't eaten in days. I was on my way back from picking up groceries when I saw him limping near a ditch. I pulled over, called out to him, and he just stared at me like he couldn't believe someone was actually stopping. Didn't bark, didn't growl, just walked up and sat down by my car like he was asking for a ride home. So I gave him one. I named him Duke. It just fit. Strong, solid, dependable. And let me tell ya, Duke became more than just a pet. That dog was company. He was the reason I got out of bed some mornings when the house felt way too quiet and the loneliness crept in a little too loud. After my husband passed, it was like the world forgot I existed, like I was just floating in the background of life. But Duke, he saw me. He waited by the door when I left. He curled up by my feet when I read. He barked at the TV. Whenever he saw a horse, no clue why, but it always made me laugh. But here's the truth. Taking care of a big dog like that ain't easy when your knees ain't what they used to be. He still had so much energy. Needed walks, attention, food, vet visits. And sometimes I just didn't have it in me. I ain't ashamed to say that. Getting old's like slowly losing pieces of yourself while still pretending you're whole. I started thinking maybe someone younger, stronger could give Duke a better life. My neighbor's daughter, she's in her 30s. Big animal lover, always offered to help with him. Couple weeks before everything happened, she even said she'd take him if I ever felt it was too much. And I started thinking about it. Seriously thinking. The morning it all started, I was out back pulling weeds. My backyard's not much, just a patch of grass, a few flower beds, a rusted old bench I never replaced, and some trees lining the fence that separates my place from the woods. It ain't fancy, but I like it. I know every inch of that yard. I've seen deer walk right up to my porch, squirrels fight over bird feeders, and the occasional raccoon dig through my trash like it's a buffet. Nature's always been a part of my life. I never feared it. I respected it. Thought I understood it. Turns out I didn't know a damn thing. That day felt like any other. The sun was high, air thick, like it gets in June, and Duke was chasing something near the tree line, probably a squirrel. I didn't think much of it. He was always nosing around out there. I had gloves on, dirt under my nails, sweat on my neck. I was just ... in my zone. You know, that kind of peaceful, slow rhythm only people who've lived long enough to appreciate quiet understand. But looking back, there were signs. The birds were gone. I didn't hear M chirping like usual. No wind rustling the trees. It was too still, too quiet. I stood up to stretch my back, wiped the sweat off my forehead, and that's when I noticed Duke standing still, ears up, tail low. Just frozen, staring at something I couldn't see. I called his name, but he didn't even flinch. That's when I felt it. This weird pressure, like the air around me got heavier. I know that sounds strange, but if you've ever been in real danger, your body knows before your brain does. And mine was already screaming before I understood why. But I brushed it off, told myself he probably spotted a rabbit or a raccoon. I even laughed a little, shook my head, and muttered something like, "Duke, you big dummy, it's just a possum or something." I bent down to grab the trowel I'd dropped, and that's when I heard it. Not a hiss, not a rattle, just this rustling, slow, deliberate, heavy, like something dragging itself through the leaves, low to the ground, moving with a purpose. Still, I didn't panic, not yet. I turned to look, squinting into the trees, trying to see what had Duke so damn locked in, and then he growled. Not his usual barky fuss. This was deep, low, like it came from the bottom of his chest. I'd never heard him growl like that before. It stopped me cold. That's when I finally felt afraid. I called him again, this time, louder. He didn't move, and just as I was about to walk over and grab him, he took one step back, then another, and another, never turning his back, just slowly retreating toward me, like he was shielding me from something. I'd never seen him do that before. My gut told me to go inside. Right then, drop everything and run. But I didn't, because I still hadn't seen what he saw. And part of me, the stubborn old Southern woman in me, wanted to believe it. Was nothing, that I was just being dramatic. That maybe it was a big all-black snake, sure, but nothing we hadn't dealt with before. Harmless, really, that's what I told myself. I had no idea what was actually hiding in those trees. No idea what had slithered out from the edge of those woods and into my life, ready to change everything. But I was about to find out, and when I did, it would be too late to pretend everything was fine. I didn't see it at first. All I saw was the way Duke's body shifted, tense like a damn bowstring, pulled tight, muscles ready to snap. His hackles were up, tail stiff, chest puffed like he was twice his size. He started backing into me, slow and cautious, keeping himself between me and whatever was creeping at us. That alone should have been enough to make me bolt, but I couldn't move. I don't even know if it was fear or just plain shock, but my feet were glued to the dirt, heart pounding in my ears so loud I couldn't hear anything else. That's when the rustling turned into this low, dragging sound. Heavy, wet, somehow like flesh sliding across the ground, and I swear to God, time just stopped. Then I saw it. It came out from behind the old magnolia tree like it had always been part of the damn landscape. Long, thick, and dark as wet ash. Not black, not brown, something in between, with this dull sheen that caught the sunlight in patches. The body moved in these slow, deliberate curves, wide as my thigh, easy. Like it wasn't in a hurry, because it didn't have to be. I saw maybe 10-12 feet of it before I even saw the head, and when I did, it felt like my lungs stopped working. That head wasn't narrow and sleek like a garden snake. It was wide, flat, triangular like a shovel dipped in oil, with these small, glistening eyes that didn't blink, just stared. And it stared right at me. There was no sound, no warning, no chance to run. The damn thing lunged so fast I didn't even register the movement. Just this blur of motion and the hard slam of my back hitting the ground. My elbow cracked against the stone edge of the garden, pain shooting up to my shoulder, and I felt the air rip out of my chest. I couldn't scream, couldn't breathe. I didn't even feel the teeth right away. Just pressure like something wrapped around my leg and started squeezing. Not a coil, not yet, but the weight of it was enough to lock my whole body down. That's when the real panic kicked in. Duke snapped. He went from silent sentinel to full-on beast in half a second. I barely saw him leap, just a flash of fur, a guttural roar that didn't sound anything like a bark. He hit the snake hard right at the base of its head, and I swear I felt the impact through the ground. That monster twisted, flailed through its weight sideways, and the world spun. I ended up half on my side, dirt in my mouth, vision blurred by sweat and tears and panic. But I could hear it. The snarling, the hissing, the awful thud of bodies crashing into the garden bench. It sounded like a damn war zone back there. And all I could think, laying there stunned and useless, was how I almost gave that dog away. I had actually called my neighbor the day before, told her I'd bring Duke over for a trial weekend, give him a chance at a younger home. That call probably saved my life. 'Cause if I'd gone through with it, if I'd walked into that backyard alone that day, I don't even like thinking about it. The snake tried to shake Duke off, twisted hard enough to snap a fence post in half. He got tossed once. I saw that hit the ground with a yelp that cut me deep, but he got up, charged right back. He didn't let go. Not once. He bit and held, growled like a demon, eyes wild with something I can only describe as fury. And still the thing kept coming. That damn snake wasn't just striking, it was targeting. It came for me, and every time it did, Duke threw himself. Between us, it bit him. I saw the blood. I saw teeth sink into his side, and he didn't stop. That dog was fighting like he knew exactly what was at stake. I tried to move, tried to crawl away. My leg was burning, pulsing, the fang marks deep and angry, and I could feel the venom spreading. My fingers tingled. My chest tightened. I felt dizzy cold. I knew what was happening. I'd seen enough animal shows to know that bite wasn't nothing. It was poison, and it was already inside me. I needed help fast, but my phone was inside on the kitchen counter. The back door was 15 feet away, and I couldn't even stand. Then, by some damn miracle, I heard a voice. My neighbor's daughter, she'd come by to bring me eggs. From her chickens like she did every Friday morning, but this time she saw the chaos from the driveway. She screamed. I saw her through the porch screen, hand over her mouth phone already in the other dialing. 911. She didn't try to run in, smart girl, but she kept shouting for help, for Duke, for someone to do something. That voice, that tiny piece of outside world, grounded me, reminded me this wasn't just some nightmare I'd wake up from. This was real, and I wasn't alone. It took a while, forever it felt like, but Duke managed to drive the snake back. I don't know how. I really don't. One minute it was all teeth and muscle and noise, and the next it was gone. Sliding back into the trees, wounded, but not dead. Duke didn't chase it. He stood over me, chest heaving, one eye swelling shut and blood soaking his fur, but he stayed. Didn't leave my side. Not even when the paramedics arrived. They said later it was a Burmese python. Someone had kept it illegally, probably dumped it in the woods when it got too big. No one ever claimed it. No reports. Just a ghost snake out there feeding on Wanashot, until it decided I looked like a good meal. They found part of a deer carcass near the fence line. That explained the silence. The birds had cleared out because they knew. Nature always knows. And me, I barely made it. I spent 3 days in the hospital, hooked up to machines, drifting in and out of sleep. Duke was with a vet recovering from a torn ear, punctures in his neck, and a broken rib. They said he wouldn't have survived if I hadn't called the neighbor's daughter the day before and mentioned my plan. She'd come by just to talk me out of it, to check on me, if she hadn't. God, so many ifs. But the worst part, the part that sticks with me, that snake wasn't some wild twist of fate. It was someone's pet. Someone who didn't want it anymore and thought the woods would just make it disappear. But it didn't disappear. It found me, and it almost killed me. And if it weren't for the very dog I almost gave away, I don't even like to imagine how this story would have ended. Now let me tell you how we made it through that. How Duke recovered, and how I found something bigger than just fear in the aftermath of that day. I don't think I really breathed, like fully breathed, until I was back home a week later, sitting on my porch with a blanket around my shoulders and Duke sleeping at my feet. The scar on my leg was fresh, angry red, wrapped up tight. I still walked with a bit of a limp. The meds made me dizzy half the time, and every little rustle in the bushes still made my stomach knot. But I was home, and Duke, he was alive. That was all I needed. They'd said he might not pull through. The vet told me straight up, "First night he's in rough shape, ma'am. We're gonna do everything we can." And I remember sitting there numb as stone, whispering to myself over and over, "He saved my life, he saved my life." Like saying, it might make some higher power pay attention. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. The silence in my house was louder than the chaos that had come before it. But the next morning when I called the vet, said he's a fighter, ate a little, wagged his tail when he heard your name. And I broke, just sat on the kitchen floor and cried like a kid. 2 days later, I was still in the hospital and they let me FaceTime with him. He looked like hell. Swollen stitches on his neck, one ear flopped weird from the swelling. But when he saw my face on that screen, he stood up. Weak, shaky tail thumping against the kennel wall like a drum. That moment right there, I ain't never felt love that pure. Not even from people. When we both got released, me with a stack of prescriptions and Duke with strict orders for rest, my neighbor's daughter offered to stay with us for a bit. She didn't even ask, just said, I already packed a bag. And I'm glad she did. I needed help? Yeah, but more than that, I needed someone around. Someone to talk to while my brain tried to stitch itself back together. We'd sit out back with coffee, staring at that tree line like it might come alive again. And every now and then, I'd catch Duke doing the same, staring alert like he was still on guard. Part of me thinks he always will be. The weirdest thing was how fast it all faded from the town's memory. For a week or two, it was the talk of the diner. Folks stopping by, bringing food, asking questions. The paper ran a small story about an exotic animal incident. But people move on quick. Not me, though. I couldn't just shake it off. I needed answers. Closure, so I called around. Animal Control Wildlife Services, even a reporter up in Macon who covered environmental stuff. What I found out chilled me. Deeper than that snake ever could. Turns out there'd been other sightings. Nothing confirmed. Just whispers of big shadow in the woods, missing cats, even a couple goats gone from a nearby farm. People shrugged it off, figured it was coyotes or a bear. But one neighbor, a guy down the road with a fenced property, told me something I can't forget. He said a few years back he knew someone who kept a bunch of reptiles illegally. Snakes, lizards, the whole 9 yards. Real underground type of deal. One night the place got raided. Some of the animals got confiscated. Others just disappeared. Folks assumed they got loose or died off. But what if they didn't? What if that python was one of them? It made sense. Too much sense. And it pissed me off. Someone dumped that thing. Left it to grow, to hunt, to survive out there like it belonged. But it didn't, and it almost cost me my life. Almost cost me Duke. I can't prove anything and no one's been held accountable, but at least I know I wasn't crazy. That fear, that instinct, it was real. And I wasn't just some unlucky woman in the wrong place. I was a victim of someone else's cowardice. Still, I didn't let that fear win. I made a choice. I fenced the yard, got a contractor to put in strong, deep barriers. Cut back the trees near the property line, installed motion lights. Yeah, it was expensive. I dipped into the savings I swore I wouldn't touch, but peace of mind ain't cheap. And for the first time in months, I can sit out back with a glass of sweet tea and just breathe. I even planted new flowers, started rebuilding what got torn apart. And Duke bounced back like a damn champ. Slower, sure, a little gray creeping in now, but still got that fire in his eyes. He sleeps more, stays close, follows me around like he's glued to my hip. Sometimes he dreams, legs twitching little growls, and I wonder if he's reliving that fight. I wish I could take it away from him, wish he didn't have to carry that memory. But then he wakes up, stretches, looks at me with those warm, loyal eyes, and I know he's okay. We both are. I never did call the neighbor's daughter to take him. That phone call, it's long gone. Duke's not going anywhere, he's mine. And if there's one thing I know now, truly know, it's that love, real love, shows up when everything else falls apart. Sometimes it's four-legged muddy pods, stubborn as hell, and worth every damn sleepless night. So yeah, I almost died. That's the truth. But I lived. I lived because I made one small choice, to keep something I loved even when it got hard. And that choice that saved me. If you're still here listening, thank you. Really, I know. It was a wild ride. But maybe that's the point. Life's messy. Nature's unpredictable. And sometimes the things we think we can't handle turn out to be the exact things that hold us up when everything else falls. And you listening right now, what would you have done in my place? Would you have kept the dog? Would you have run? Would you have frozen like I did? Me, I don't blame anyone for being scared, but I do hope this story sticks with you. Not to scare you, but to remind you, instincts matter. Love matters. And never, never underestimate what a dog will do for the person they love. If this story hit you in the chest even a little, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, Victims of Nature. There's more where this came from. Real stories, deep truths, wild moments that remind us just how close we all live to the edge of something bigger than us. And hey, just so we're clear, this story, it's fiction. A work of imagination. Please don't go trying to wrestle a snake or assume your dog's a superhero. If you ever find yourself in real danger, call for help. Don't try to be brave, try to be safe. Thanks for listening. Take care of yourself. and hug your dog for me.